Robert Fisk, it won't just be people in the United States that were really clinging on to every word uttered by President Barack Obama in his speech, but people across the Middle East and the Muslim world. And there was one important line in which he addressed the Muslim world. He said, "We seek a new way forward based on mutual interest and mutual respect." Have we heard that kind of language before? Because if I just compare it to what we heard from President Bush in 2005 at his inaugural, he said the policy of the United States is to seek and support the growth of democratic movements and institutions in every nation and every culture. And that the goal ultimately was ending tyranny. Is there a real difference here? Perhaps the word mutual respect. What do you make of it?
Well, I think in Washington one can be more emotional about this sort of thing than one is watching more cynically perhaps from Beirut. I didn't think that was a great difference at all from the kind of rhetoric of Bush. I mean, one of the good things was we didn't get taken through the 9/11 routine again, which we got so used to in every one of Bush's pitiful speeches. Though there was the reference, of course, to the firefighters struggling up the stairway in the smoke. But that's fair enough. I thought there were one or two things which were very interesting. There was the obvious reference to Iran, where Obama made a comment about he will outreach the hand to people who are not allowing their people freedoms, although I don't think Iran will take that very kindly. What was particularly interesting, however, was this almost a Clinton ghost speech where we heard at one point, "You cannot outlast us." He was talking about Islamists, although he didn't say that. And that was very similar to what Clinton said after the Jordanian-Israeli peace agreement in Jordan, where he addressed the Jordanian parliament and said, "You are yesterday's men." And I was particularly struck by his reference to slaughtering innocents, that this cannot go on and so on. Now, I know he was obviously referring to other people, but many people in this part of the world would identify slaughtering innocents with Palestinians in Gaza and 400 children dead, and that of course was not what Mr. Obama was talking about. It was a very long speech, almost a sermon. I thought it was more like a preacher's speech than a president's speech. And I'd have to say that, you know, his hero, Abraham Lincoln, who talked of a new birth of freedom, you know, 77 years ago he began at Gettysburg, November 19, 1863. That speech only lasted 2 minutes, but that's the speech we remember. And I can't remember, not looking at my notes here, a single complete sentence of what Obama just said. It's a bit cynical, but that's my first reaction to you.